Welcome to Stay Safe Seminole. I'm Paula Thompson with Seminole County Fire Department. On today's segment, we're going to highlight programs and services offered in Seminole County and learn how you can access them. Emergency skills and public safety programs that you will hear about will help you help your family during emergencies and natural disasters. Pets are also an important part of our community, and you'll learn ways that you can assist our furry friends and other pets. Welcome to Stay Safe Seminole. Seminole County Fire Department is teaching CPR a new way. Joining us today on Stay Safe Seminole is Seminole County Fire Chief Mark Oakes. He'll be sharing information about this life-saving program. Chief Oakes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the program, Chief. It's been implemented about 2 years ago. About 10,000 people have been trained so far, and it's called Save a Life Seminole. Tell us about the program.
Well, I'm very excited to. We started that initiative, as you said, approximately 2 years ago. Save a Life Seminole is about teaching hands-only CPR and also educating the public about AEDs that are available throughout our county.
Okay, and this is an American Heart Association program, and why is it so important for residents to learn CPR?
Well, approximately over 350,000 people suffer sudden cardiac arrest throughout the United States, with 90% of them dying. However, when hands-only CPR or full CPR is introduced, you can double or triple the survival rate of somebody who suffers a cardiac event.
Okay, and why is it so important for a citizen to start CPR prior to the fire department arriving?
Well, while we have outstanding trained EMTs and paramedics and all the best technology, early intervention of CPR and hands-only CPR, like I said before, doubles or triples the ability for a person to have a successful outcome. The early introduction of hands-only CPR we've witnessed has improved the ability for our paramedics and EMTs to have a better outcome for the patient suffering a sudden cardiac event.
And it's also my understanding about 70% of cardiac arrest victims occur in the home. So that's even more important for loved ones to have CPR.
Yes, and because it is so easy, all family members, regardless of their age, can be taught this, and it's very easy to learn. Okay.
Let's talk about how long it takes to learn CPR, and there's some songs that you can kind of keep the beat. Tell us about the 2 steps.
Well, like I said before, because it's so easy, it only takes about 90 seconds to really learn hands-only CPR. And the goal there is to perform chest compressions between 100 and 120 beats. And then also with that, as you said, is the songs. The Bee Gees' Staying Alive, Crazy in Love by Beyonce with Jay-Z. These are all available on YouTube and other platforms to view, and it gives a good rhythm for the person to go along to do the CPR with.
And do you want to sing Staying Alive for us, Chief?
No.
Okay, just checking. Okay, and it takes about 90 seconds, and we also have a longer program at Seminole County Fire Department as well. It takes about an hour, hour and a half, and they have the opportunity to use the QCPR mannequin. How is this program making a difference in the community?
Well, I think you can attest to it. We've seen an uptick in our life-saving awards. We also have been doing that program for upwards of 3 years, and since we've introduced hands-only CPR and our full-blown CPR classes to the community, we've seen a greater increase in the survivability of somebody who suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. And that, coupled with the AED, really is coming full circle, and we're seeing the benefits of it.
Okay, what if a citizen witnesses someone going into cardiac arrest, and it's been a while since they've had CPR training, they don't remember the steps, or perhaps they've never had CPR before? How can they get help?
Well, that's easy. The first thing you should do is dial 911. That gets us rolling out the doors to go to help and assist. In addition to that, our emergency dispatchers are trained and emergency medical dispatch. And with that, they also can help instruct the caller on how to perform CPR, which will help with the early intervention prior to us getting there, getting the blood and oxygen flowing, and then we can come in and do our advanced life support measures to help hopefully have the positive outcome that we're looking for.
Okay, and you mentioned a little bit about automatic external defibrillators, or AEDs as we know them. How important are they and how prevalent are they in the community?
You know, we've made great strides over the last few years of getting not only our Seminole County parks, recreational areas, but also businesses have now put them in places because they realize how important it is to have the AEDs. Like I said before, CPR, hands-only CPR coupled with the AED, it's very easy to use, and that's just another measure to help increase the survivability of cardiac arrest.
Okay, and going back to CPR, how can somebody, if they have a business or they're a homeowner, how can they find out about CPR classes here in Seminole County?
And that's easy. Please go to our Seminole County Fire Department website and look for the Save a Life Seminole link. That will go to our community outreach program, and you can register to ask for a class. And between our community outreach team members and our field operations people, we will certainly make ourselves available to teach everybody hands-only CPR.
Okay, and I also understand there's an AED registry, and that is very important. And we also have some new technology coming about. What is that about?
Here in Seminole County, we actually capture the locations of AEDs on public and private properties. We're currently going through a new computer-aided dispatch software program that we're implementing. And with that, we'll have what's known as Pulse Point. It's an app. And what will happen is when we have this new technology in place within about 8 to 12 months, when you dial 911 and you call in for a sudden cardiac event, the Pulse Point will activate and alert the people in the community or workplace of who are trained at hands-only CPR that they can go assist for that early intervention, as well as there's an AED locator if it's been captured on our database. And between the two, that will definitely increase the chances of survivability.
Chief Oakes, anything else you'd like to add about CPR today?
I think it's the most important thing we can do for all ages is to learn, families, friends, and co-workers. It's 90 seconds to learn, and we certainly will offer the classes to everybody who would like to have them.
Chief Oakes, thank you for joining us today and sharing this valuable information.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
Going out of town soon? Seminole County deputies are ready to make sure your property stays safe and secure. The best part, it's a free service. Here's Seminole County Sheriff's Office Bob Keeling with more on House Watch.
Most of our burglaries that occur are during the day.
Deputy Amber Belanger says burglars often travel neighborhoods during the day, going house to house under the guise of offering some sort of service. They'll knock on front doors, and if no one's home, try to make entry through an unlocked door or window.
I think a lot of people forget to lock their sliding glass door, which, that's a primary method of entry in a lot of these burglaries, as well as their windows. Do you keep any lights on the corner of the house over here?
Today she's visiting with Roger, a Longwood resident who's going out of town soon and wants to sign up for House Watch.
And a visible deterrent is sometimes far greater than a camera that can be disabled or wiring that can be cut.
Belanger says that's what the program offers, a little peace of mind. Sign up and we'll send a deputy to walk the front and back of your home at different hours of the day and night.
We want people to feel comfortable when they go out of town and know that we're going to keep an eye on their house, make sure everything is just as they left it.
When you sign up for our program online, we're going to ask you some specific information. Do you plan to leave a vehicle in the driveway? If so, what's the tag number? Do you have an emergency contact for when you're out of town? What's their phone number? And do you have maintenance people who may be showing up while you're out of town? During Hurricane Irma, we offered House Watch to residents staying in storm shelters. As a result, there were no reported burglaries or break-ins. Here is the phone number to call if you're interested in signing up for House Watch.
Now on Stay Safe Seminole, let's take a look at our vulnerable population. Steve Lerner from Emergency Management is with us today to inform us on how to help someone that may need additional assistance during a hurricane or natural disaster. Welcome, Steve, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go ahead and talk about the vulnerable population and what that means in Seminole County.
Great. So the vulnerable population pretty much is any resident who feels that they may need extra assistance during an emergency. That could be transportation assistance, or maybe they have a certain medical condition that they need to let us know about.
Okay, so how do we determine if they're eligible for this program?
So what we ask is that the residents actually pre-register before a disaster. We have a few ways that they could register. One is to register online, and the best way to do that is to go to prepareseminole.org and click on Medically Enhanced Shelter. Once they do that, they'll be asked to give us some information, their name, their phone number, address, and answer about 20 questions about their medical condition. If they based on the questions that they answer, we put them into different categories. So it could be that they actually qualify for a medically enhanced shelter, which they have a certain condition that can be provided at that special shelter. Or if they don't, we don't actually deny anybody. So we put them on a well checklist. So if they do not qualify, we're actually going to send first responders out to your home to check to make sure if they're okay before and after an emergency.
Okay, so I know that this population changes frequently and it gets very busy leading up to a storm. Why is it so important for someone to pre-register prior to a storm or natural disaster?
You know, preparedness is always a great thing. And when we're able to identify those individuals beforehand, it makes our job a lot easier and it takes a lot of stress off that resident. So we really ask that they pre-register so that we can actually plan for their needs at the shelter before they even come.
In the event of a disaster, what's available at a special needs shelter and what should a resident bring with them?
So there's a lot of services available at a medically enhanced shelter. One is that we have staff from the Department of Health there to assist individuals who may not have a skilled caregiver with them to kind of administer some assistance, getting them up out of bed, maybe administering some medication, maybe providing some light wound care if they need assistance with that. We also have special beds or cots that are able to hold a larger weight, and they're able to prop up to a position that makes it a little bit more comfortable for those individuals who need extra assistance.
Okay, so let's say we have a hurricane coming and we have somebody that needs assistance in going to a shelter. They don't have a loved one around, they don't have a family member or a friend around. How can they get to a shelter?
So the best way is to pre-register for the medically enhanced program, and by doing that, when we open up our medically enhanced shelters, we actually will call them and ask them to call us back, which is to our citizens information line, and actually schedule to be picked up. And what we'll do is we'll dispatch a school bus out there or a vehicle with a wheelchair lift if they need it, and we'll actually schedule the time to pick them up. And then we'll bring them over to the shelter.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about, you touched on it, about the medically enhanced well-being check for residents in Seminole County.
So the medically enhanced well-being check is for those individuals who have filled out an application, but they may not meet the requirements of a medically enhanced shelter, but they still are vulnerable, and we still want to make sure that they're okay. So we put them on a separate list, and it allows us to do those well-being checks before and after an emergency. And it also, they're going to still get that same information about transportation to a shelter, but they're instead going to go to a general population shelter.
And during a natural disaster or a hurricane, there's a lot of information that gets pushed out. We want our residents to be informed. What are some ways that they can, where are some places they can go to get information, and how can they register to receive information from us?
One of the best ways to get information on disaster preparedness in Seminole County is to go to our website, prepareseminole.org. There you'll find all kinds of information on how to stay informed, how to make a plan, how to get a kit. how to prepare your home, and how to get involved. One of the best ways that residents can get prepared is to sign up for our emergency alerts, which is our Alert Seminole notification program. By doing that, you go onto our prepareseminole.org website, click on emergency alerts, and you could go ahead and sign up for that program. And you'll be automatically signed up for email, text, phone, and voice notifications, so that when there is an emergency, you'll be the first to know.
Okay, so for our medically enhanced population, we strongly encourage them to pre-register. Right now is a great time for them to register. And anything else that you would like to share there, Steve?
Yeah, so what's really great about the program is, people change, things change, conditions change. So when we sign somebody up for the medically enhanced program, they could register online. If they're not comfortable registering online, there's actually a printable form right below the online registration button. They could go ahead and print that out and mail that in to us, or they could submit it right from the document by email. When their condition changes, we actually send them a birthday card once a year on their birthday month. So they get a really cool birthday card, whether they're in the medically enhanced or the WellCheck program. And it's a really nice thing that they get. They could put it on the fridge. They have our contact information, and we want them to call in and update their information.
That birthday card, that's a nice touch. Thank you, Steve, for joining us today and sharing this great information. Emergency management does a fantastic job, and thank you for keeping our residents safe.
Thanks for having me.
Each year, Seminole County Fire Department celebrates Emergency Medical Services Week. Here are some examples of why Seminole County is EMS strong.
Seminole County EMS is stronger because of the citizen who's trained that makes the phone call to 911. The 911 dispatcher who takes that call, talks the citizen through CPR, dispatches our units, sending out incredibly trained paramedics and EMTs. The hospitals that are all over our area that have such well-trained individuals.
The EMS system, I have to say, I've been involved with a lot of EMS in my life, and Seminole County has some of the best EMS in this nation. Really, really strong.
Life is stronger in Seminole County because of the collaboration between EMS and our hospitals. About 20% of the patients who come to our hospital arrive by EMS, and those are typically the most critically injured and ill patients. And their care starts before they get here, experts in the field, and that only makes their outcome better.
We have what's called a life-saving award, and that's where we're reuniting our paramedics and EMTs with the citizen that they saved. A really neat component of that over the last couple of years has been the addition of citizen CPR in the community, and what we found is an uptick in those number of life-saving awards. We're attributing that to the citizen in the field that's actually starting CPR before we get there. We've trained 10,000 citizens in CPR, which has made a huge effect in patient care for the community.
For everyone that lives in Seminole County and Longwood specifically, that you should feel fortunate to have such amazing people that made such a massive difference in our families' lives.
It's awesome because, like they said, they like to see a good outcome, and the same for me. I like to know the faces of the people that saved my life, and so, it's part of our community, and I feel awesome about it. So.
Another thing that I'm really proud of as far as our collaboration with EMS is the way that we work together to educate our community about how they can save a life before they even have EMS on the scene, and that is our education about hands-only CPR.
We are strong because number one is our people. We have the best paramedics and EMTs that a community could ever ask for. The cooperation between our local governments, fire agencies, we run on a first response system. We don't recognize borders. Whoever's the closest unit is going, and we're all trained at the same level. At that point, we take them to the hospital, and our working relationships with the hospitals, they really believe in what we do. They trust that we've delivered the care that we're supposed to deliver.
We see everybody once a quarter. That means we can train everybody pretty rapidly, so we can find problems, get them trained, and change things out. Boy, has that made us stronger.
Our paramedics and EMTs can get there with our mobile ER and do the life-saving measures that we can do. And we're getting those patients to the hospital, and they're walking out with a good quality of life.
There were a series of decisions made by the county, beginning with transport, which have actually made Seminole County Fire Department much stronger.
It's a pleasure to get to say Happy EMS Week. We're very pleased to have Seminole County EMS as our partners.
I just want to say thank you to our paramedics and EMTs. They do an absolutely outstanding job, and they really make my job rewarding.
It's kind of unusual, but EMS does about the same medicine I did in emergency departments with clean sheets and bright lights and lots of backup. They do it in families' houses, in people's houses, and bodily fluids on the floor, and just people yelling at them and upset. They do the same medicine. I mean, unbelievable job that they do. I can't thank them enough.
Moving over to pets that are such an important part of our families, Diane Gagliano from Animal Services is here to tell us how you can adopt a pet and how you can help the shelter. Thank you, Diane, for taking the time to come join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's just talk a little bit about Animal Services and their role in the community.
We get a lot of animals into Animal Services. Basically what we are is we are the place for animals in Seminole County, domestic animals. So if you have lost a pet or you're looking to adopt a pet, you're to come to Animal Services to either find your pet or adopt a pet. We also do licensing for the county. We investigate the bites that happen in the county and just do a lot of things to help the community and aid them when it comes to domestic pets.
And you all do a fantastic job. How many pets come into the shelters each month on average?
We get a lot of animals in, and you have to understand that we get not just dogs and cats, we get ferrets, livestock, chickens, birds, hamsters, all kinds of animals. So if you add everything together, we get about 725 a month. But if you just want to say dogs, cats, and ferrets, it's about 525 a month.
What is your most unique animal that you've had come into the shelter?
We get a lot of exotics, like we've gotten a tegu lizard, we have gotten a monkey before, so we get a lot of different animals. It's always fun to see what's coming new when you've had a couple of days off, and then you come in and there's some new exotic there.
Tell us the difference between Animal Services and the Humane Society.
The Humane Society, which is now called Pet Alliance, is a privately run organization where Seminole County Animal Services is a government entity. So we're funded by the government and we operate under the Board of County Commissioners. And Pet Alliance is privately funded. So Pet Alliance only adopts out dogs and cats, and they only take owner surrenders. So if you have a dog or cat you can't keep, you can bring it to Pet Alliance and they'll adopt it out for you. But at Animal Services, we have to take everything. We take strays, we take dangerous animals, we take owner surrendered animals. Anything that comes through our door, if it's from Seminole County, we have to take it.
What about our folks out there that have pets right now? Do they need a license? And if they do, how do they get one?
You do need a license. Right now we have brought all of our licensing back in-house right at Animal Services. So you can come into the shelter and purchase your license, or you can do it online at SeminoleCountyPets.com, or you can do it by mail. So dogs, cats, and ferrets are what need to be licensed in Seminole County, and they need their rabies shot in order to get that license. So the shelter actually provides rabies vaccines for dogs and cats at the shelter Monday through Friday from 1 to 3:30, where you can get your pet's rabies vaccine and then purchase your license at the same time. Licenses are $5 for a spayed or neutered dog or cat and $25 for an unaltered animal.
Okay, fantastic. Let's talk about stray animals. I was out in the community a couple weeks ago and had to call your office. What should someone do if they come across a stray animal?
If you can capture the stray animal and bring it to Animal Services, that's really the best, because sometimes by the time our officers get out to a location where there's a stray, the animal has already run off. So if you can safely capture the animal and bring it into animal services, we are the one place where the citizens can come to look for their lost pet. No other group should be taking in lost animals. They should be coming to animal services so that it's one central location where an owner can come to look for their lost pet. If you can't capture it or if it's a problem, then please call Animal Services Dispatch and get somebody out there to help.
Okay, thank you. What happens if we have a stray pet go into the shelter?
The animals are held at the shelter for 5 working days, which really is 7 days because we don't count the day that the animal gets there and we do not count Sunday. So I always say it's 5 to 7 days. They're held there in order for the owners to come and locate their animal. After the 5 to 7 days, then they are evaluated and put up for adoption, transferred to rescue, or unfortunately some of the animals, if their temperament is not good, would be humanely euthanized.
What about if someone wants to adopt a pet? I know I adopted my little dog over at Animal Services many years ago. How can they adopt?
That's my favorite part. I've adopted all my animals from there too. You just come into the shelter and you look over all of our dogs and cats. There will be an adoption counselor there to help you. We'll bring the animal out, let you interact with it. And basically, you can adopt whatever you see and love. You need to be 18 years old. There are adoption fees involved, so a dog would be $80 if it is not spayed or neutered, because we would provide the surgery for you, or $20 if it's already spayed and neutered. And a cat is $60 if it needs to be spayed or neutered, and $10 if it's already spayed and neutered. If you're a Seminole County resident, you would still have to purchase the $5 county license. But you just come in, bring your driver's license, bring some money, and adopt the pet of your dreams.
Okay. And we know that you all do a fantastic job over there in the shelter, but you can always use more help. What are some ways that residents can come in and help you at the shelter?
Volunteer. We love having volunteers. We have anyone 18 and older can come into the shelter and volunteer. The only requirement is that they love animals, maybe 2 requirements. They love animals, and then they attend our new volunteer orientation, which we run about every month for new volunteers. We have a great volunteer team, so we would invite anybody who has a passion for animals to come and join us.
I also understand you can donate to
Yes.
Animal Services monetarily and other things that you may take into the shelter or need at the shelter. Go ahead and tell us.
You can either, like you said, donate monetarily or give us some items for the shelter. If it's money, we'll use that for things that we're not budgeted for, heartworm treatments, spay and neuters on some of our animals that need it for perhaps to go through heartworm treatment. We spay and neuter the animal first. We use donation money to purchase parts for our Kuranda beds, because all of our dogs have beds in the shelter, but they're dogs, so they tear them up, and we buy parts for them. And supplies, we can always use supplies, cleaning supplies, pate style dog and cat food that we use for kittens and dogs to give them pills, and also kitten chow. Those are our biggest needs, is the pate style cat and dog food and kitten chow.
Diane, certainly want to thank you for joining us today and
Thank
sharing
you.
all this valuable information, and great job over at Animal Services.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of our guests today for informing us on how we can learn CPR, register someone who is medically enhanced, and how we can help our pets in Seminole County. I'm Paula Thompson with Seminole County Fire Department, and thank you for joining us today on Stay Safe Seminole.